Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. The room is quiet, the sun's just kind of starting to peek through the blinds, and most importantly, there is no blaring alarm clock, no sudden, jarring rush of adrenaline telling you you've got to scramble out of bed. There's zero pressure to go merge into that heavy, stressful morning traffic, and absolutely no fear of missing a paycheck. Instead, you get to decide exactly how your day begins. Maybe you have a slow, relaxed breakfast with your family. Maybe you spend an hour finally learning that new skill you've been putting off forever. You're working on something you genuinely enjoy, not because you have to, but simply because you choose to. I mean, wouldn't that feel like the absolute pinnacle of success? Because for so many of us, society has painted a very, very different picture. We're constantly told that financial success means, owning luxury cars, having these sprawling massive houses, or rocking the absolute latest designer brands. We're practically trained to chase those visible markers of wealth. But what if we've got the definition of success completely backward? What if the real goal is actually completely invisible? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're exploring a brilliantly simple yet completely life-changing concept from the financial thinker Morgan Housel. His core premise is this: the absolute greatest benefit of money isn't what it buys in a retail store, it's the ability to control your own time. Earning the right to dictate your own schedule might literally be the most valuable investment anyone can make. I am so excited to walk you through this. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the true meaning of wealth, redefining success. Which brings us to Section 2, time, the irreplaceable assets, and the ultimate inequality. To really understand why this shift in mindset is absolutely crucial, we need to look at the fundamental difference between the resources we all possess. Because the highest form of wealth isn't having expensive things to show off to the neighbors, right? It's having ultimate autonomy over your life. Just think about the stark contrast between money and time. Money is a highly renewable resource. It can be lost and it can be earned right back. You can literally bankrupt a company and completely rebuild a business from scratch. People recover from massive financial setbacks all the time. But time passes exactly once. It can never, ever be bought back, no matter how rich you are. Every single person on Earth gets the exact same 24 hours in a day. The difference lies entirely in how much control we have over those hours. So let me ask you, who do you think is actually wealthier? The person with a massive multi-million-dollar salary who has absolutely zero time for their family? Or the person earning a modest income who has the total freedom to choose how they spend their afternoons? Which brings us to a really direct question. Why do you want more money? Think about it for a second. Most people will say, well, they want security or higher investment returns, or they work overtime simply to bump up their income. And those are perfectly reasonable goals. But if you keep asking why after every single answer you give, if you really peel back the layers, eventually all those roads lead to one ultimate destination: freedom. The freedom to make choices, the freedom to say no, the freedom to pursue meaningful work and just spend time with the people you love. Money's hidden highest purpose is simply giving you options. Let's look at Section 3, the story of Maya, and choosing freedom over salary. Let's ground this with a super relatable example. Let's look at Maya. She's a talented graphic designer who is suddenly faced with a life-altering career choice. It's a classic crossroads that tests exactly what we've been talking about. Job A pays exactly double her current salary. Boom, a massive financial upgrade. But consider the cost: 70 hours a week, absolutely no weekends, and zero vacations. On the flip side, we have Job B. It offers a lower salary, sure, but she gets flexible working hours, remote work, and plenty of time for our own passion projects. Now, a lot of people in our society would instantly grab Job A for the cash without a second thought. But Maya chooses Job B. Her friends thought she was making a terrible mistake, but years later, she's built a highly successful freelance business, she genuinely enjoys her work, and she spends every single evening with her family. The crucial point here is this: she didn't choose less money, she successfully chose more freedom. But Maya's story isn't the norm, is it? That brings us to Section 4, the lifestyle inflation trap, often referred to as the golden handcuffs.
Have you ever met someone who says, I just can't leave my job, even though they are visibly miserable? Like, why do so many people get stuck in jobs they absolutely hate? Well, it is incredibly rarely a lack of actual income. Rather, it's a lack of financial flexibility, high debt, large, creeping monthly expenses, constant lifestyle inflation. These are invisible traps that quietly, systematically strip away our freedom. The more we absolutely rely on every single paycheck just to maintain our current inflated lifestyle, the fewer choices we have. Without even realizing it, we end up using our own income to build a cage around ourselves. That's why saving isn't just about growing a number in a brokerage account. It's about increasing your options and literally breaking the bars of that cage.
Moving on to Section 5, the power of saying no, independence in action. Let's slow down the pace for a second and redefine something really important here. A lot of people deeply misunderstand financial freedom. They picture dramatically quitting work forever and just sitting on a beach sipping margaritas. But financial independence doesn't mean doing absolutely nothing. It simply means working because you want to, not because you are forced to. Honestly, the happiest people often continue working. They build businesses, they volunteer, they teach, they write books. The difference is that money no longer controls their daily decisions. Purpose totally replaces pressure. And that leads to one of the absolute greatest superpowers money can ever buy, the power to say no. Financial flexibility gives you the incredible authority to say no to unethical work, no to unhealthy relationships, no to jobs that actively destroy your daily happiness, no to opportunities that simply don't align with your core values. People without financial flexibility often feel terribly trapped into saying yes to all of these just out of pure survival. But having savings creates choices, and having choices creates massive confidence. And here's the best part. You don't need millions of dollars to start experiencing this freedom. 6 months. Literally, if you have just 6 months of basic living expenses saved up, your entire psychology shifts. Suddenly, that deep-seated, paralyzing fear of losing your job, it evaporates. You can take a breath, you can negotiate better opportunities, or you can step back to learn a totally new skill. More than anything, having a 6-month buffer lets you sleep peacefully at night. Small savings bring big freedom, way before total financial independence is actually reached. So let's really ground this explainer by redefining luxury altogether. True luxury isn't necessarily a roaring sports car in the driveway. Luxury is having dinner with your family every single night. It's taking a walk without obsessively checking your work emails. It's actually getting to read a book on a quiet afternoon. It's being there to watch your children grow up and having the time and bandwidth to help your parents when they truly need you. Money is a tool, and it should be used to create these simple, profound moments of ultimate luxury, not used as a tool that ultimately replaces them. All right, Section 6, Designing Your Ideal Life, a practical exercise. I want to highly encourage you to take just 5 minutes today to reflect on your own life with an incredibly empowering, practical exercise. Maybe grab a pen and paper later today and walk through these 4 steps. First, if money genuinely weren't a concern, how would you actually spend your time? Second, which specific activities bring you the absolute most joy? Third, and this is a bit of a mirror check, are your current financial habits moving you closer to that life, or are they pushing it further away? And fourth, what is one single actionable change you could make that would give you just a little bit more freedom this year? Be completely honest with yourself here. The answers to these questions very often surprise us, and they can absolutely be the exact spark needed to redesign your future. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful thought to summarize everything we've covered today. True wealth isn't measured by what you own, it's measured by how much control you have over your time. It is so easy to fall into the cultural trap of believing that success is tracked by expensive things. But if you look closely at the genuinely happiest people you know, they aren't always the richest in dollars. They're the ones who possess time. Time for health, time for learning, time for purpose. Money is just the tool to help you get there. So the ultimate question really is, are you using your money to buy things, or are you using it to buy your freedom? But hey, what about the expensive things we do buy? Next up, we're going to dive into Part 8, the man in the car paradox. We'll uncover a fascinating, somewhat painful psychological truth. People do not admire you for your expensive possessions nearly as much as you think they do. Like, why does buying luxury to impress others almost never bring the recognition or respect we expect? And how can understanding this save you years of chasing the wrong goals? Join me in the next explainer and we'll find out.